Hello. Oh, good afternoon. It's Monday the 28th of April. The Everton Daily Laugh.
Listen, before we get into it, right? I think it is important. Listen, there's a big thing over the weekend. You know, a team we play in red, not too far away from here, did something pretty big. You know, listen, we know they're not liked by a lot of people. You know, they're American owners, but all I can say is congratulations to Wrexham. That's all I can say. Do you know what I mean? Because they've done well.
Back to back.
Back to back. So fair play to them.
One back too many, but
yeah. I mean, they might do another one.
They might.
But so fair play to them. Do you know what I mean?
Well.
Congratulations to Wrexham. They've done really well. They've represented the north.
They've done well. Yeah,
really well. So congratulations.
Story of the weekend.
A massive story.
Them and Crystal Palace.
Yeah. And also like Derby winning because of Harrison Armstrong getting themselves out of the bottom.
What a player. Nominated.
And Chermiti staying up.
Chermiti did well the weekend.
Yeah, Celtic winning the league.
Wow. Yeah, big things. Big things.
Yeah. Man City getting to the final.
City, congratulations to them.
Yeah, Umbro released the top that Liam Gallagher wore 30 years ago at the concert at Main Road. That's another thing, got to remember. Nothing else, can't think of anything else, so fair play.
Big, you know, West Ham throwing a 2-1 lead away in the last minute.
That's another one,
to make sure Everton stayed higher up the league. Fair play to them. Fair play to them.
Yeah.
So it's all good. It's all good. But we're into very nice weather. One thing that wasn't good over the weekend, of course, we have to talk about it. We can't ignore it any longer, can we? Because it's in our face. Really. We should really talk about it.
Just talk about it then.
Everton got beat.
Yeah.
Everton lost at Chelsea by a goal to 0. I mean, the normal story when we go to Chelsea, we come away with a defeat no matter what happens.
Absolutely.
It seems.
Why wouldn't we?
But what did you make of it?
It follows on the pattern of the season. We can't score goals, can we? We just can't score goals. It's our big issue. It won't be fixed with this set of players. It just won't be. There's not enough quality in the final third, and it showed again on Saturday. We just really struggled to keep hold of the ball. We struggled to have any kind of momentum in the final third, and until we bring new players in, then it will just continue. You're just swapping the chairs, aren't you, on the Titanic? So disappointing to concede the goal in the way we did as well. Finished the game quite strongly, and it was, you know, we could have got a goal, but our set pieces have obviously been decided by some kind of chat GPT of please show me the worst set pieces in the history of football, and they've come up with this plan. So fair play to them for doing that, because I can't think of actually employing someone to do that. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you employ someone to actually change something that works, to change something that you kick the ball straight in the goalie's hands?
All right, hang on. Are we really going there?
Yeah.
Are we blaming?
Yeah. No, I am blaming.
Okay,
I am blaming because
that's all.
At the end of the day, right, I've watched us take set pieces since he came in as the coach, and they are abysmal.
McNeil's not been in.
It doesn't matter. There's no variation in them. There's absolutely no variation.
There's no variation in Dwight McNeil.
I couldn't care less about Dwight McNeil. I think that everyone knows that. The set pieces are abysmal. There's no variation at all. How can you get into the last minute of the game after you've just already kicked one into the goalie's hands and decide that's exactly what you're going to do again?
That's the quality of the delivery.
There's no. A goalkeeper, a set piece coach is supposed to create different scenarios. That's what they're supposed to do. Not tell people where to kick a ball. Okay. You grab people to go short. You have men on the edge of the box. You go deep. You have running. Look at Arsenal. They don't just put the ball in the danger areas. You have players running and coming back in different scenarios. It's abysmal. It's abysmal, and he needs to be bombed in the summer.
Okay.
And that's simple fact. Okay. The fella came. It hasn't worked. They're abysmal. Everyone agrees with me, and we move on from it.
I'm not sure everyone.
I think everyone will agree with me. They are abysmal. They used to be all right.
There's a difference in me saying they're not abysmal. They are. The delivery is pathetic.
but there's no...
Those players are responsible for kicking the football.
There is, but
I could tell Everton 5 different set pieces to do, but if James Garner's going to insist on putting it in a 6'5" goalkeeper's hands, then you may as well rip the playbook.
There's no point having a coach then, is there? So
I don't think he will be in or something.
There's no point.
It was just a very temporary thing, wasn't he? He wasn't a set piece specialist anyway, was he? He's an actual coach, so they brought him in and given him something. But those deliveries are a disgrace from a professional footballer. That second one in injury time, to put it in exactly the same position.
Yeah. So there should be some variation.
No, but the players have got to come up with that. For all we know, Charlie Adams and again, I don't know if he's good, bad, indifferent, whatever. But it doesn't look like whoever takes them for us just does the same thing.
Yeah, so that's on the coach.
Terribly.
That's on the coach.
Oh, but it's not though. Because half the time, we don't even beat the first man. That can't be the coach either.
That's on a coach.
Okay.
The coach, a coach's job. Well, what's the point in having them? A coach's job is to come up with different scenarios from set pieces, to work different scenarios, and yet all our players seem to do is put it in the same area time and time again.
Just put it to the goal,
hoping that something happens. It's ridiculous. Okay. It's a second time. It happened against Liverpool in the last minute when Pickford went up. And we did it. And it happened on Saturday where we had some real momentum and we absolutely wasted the set pieces. And it's the most frustrating thing in the world. We should be capitalising on them. You've got Jake O'Brien, Jared Brantwaite in the box. It's absolutely scandalous. The deliveries are terrible, but whatever they're being told to do is also not working. And if that comes down to the coach, then...
Well, of course, but we don't know if it comes down to the coach, do we? I'm not saying he's good, by the way, because I agree there doesn't seem to be variation, so I don't know what they're working on, but I still think if our set pieces are that bad because our players can't cross a football, then that's on them.
Then why isn't he...
You can do shooting practice with Beto, Dominic Calvert-Lewin all day long, but if the lads can't put it in the net,
so then
can't blame David Moyes.
Well, then you take him... I'm not blaming... I'm blaming Charlie Adams.
I'm saying it's the same thing, though.
You take him off them then, don't you, and find someone else. Dwight McNeil was on the pitch.
They've had the last few weeks, James Garner, Alcaraz, Jack Harrison, Dwight McNeil, all taking corners and free kicks, and none of them are any good.
So the coach needs to be binned.
Okay, but I would raise you. You could bin him and have no one, and those lads would still do the same thing.
A coach's job,
about delivery.
A coach's job is to coach, and he hasn't done that. So he's only temporary. He hasn't done what he was being asked to do. So see you later.
All I'm saying, then imagine if
golf rig out.
So if we got, I don't know, Gabriel Batistuta in to work with Beto. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin to run through and put it in, and he does hours on a training ground, and they run through and miss sitters. He's sacking Batistuta.
No, because that's a different. No.
It's exactly the same.
I'm not being funny. I could teach James how to take set pieces. You can teach anyone how to do the professional footballers. You come up with different scenarios. Well, it's true. This is what a set piece this is what a set piece coach is there for, to work out different scenarios. Last minutes of the game, what are you doing? Go deep, come short. Why aren't we being inventful? Why aren't we grabbing someone and going short and creating a different angle for the set piece? But we're not. We're just throwing them into the box. So either they're not listening to him because he whatever he's serving up isn't good enough, or what he's serving up isn't good enough. So see you later. Thanks for your help. I
don't think he's going to be here anyway.
Would you argue that you want more stuff like the goal we had against Liverpool, like that free kick where it was from Brantwaite to Beto?
When he set that goal up and it was brilliant. Yeah.
More stuff like that from.
No, but I'm not defending him, by the way. What I'm saying is the players. It amazes me how much of a free pass players get. It's
not a free pass.
It's a free pass. James Garner, you cannot tell me Charlie Adam or David Moyes or Alan Irvine or Billy McKenna or whoever, Leighton Baines, in that dressing room on set pieces, all of them saying, put it on the goalkeeper who's 6'5". I ain't having it. If David Moyes is allowing that, then he needs binning. And I don't believe that that's real. That is a thing of putting it in the zone. James Garner just give to the goalkeeper all day. Dwight McNeil, the only corner he's got is whack it long to the back post. That's all we did. We've had Alcaraz hitting terrible deliveries in lately. Jack Harrison, shocking. Ashley Young, shocking. You're professional footballers. Put it underneath the crossbar. It's dead easy to take a corner. Literally, dead
it is.
easy.
It is. So come up with something new.
I know, but what I'm saying is you'd expect one delivery
Well,
to be
I don't
decent.
see any variation in any of the set pieces. It's all the same. It's all the
I'm
same.
not defending them. I'm just saying sometimes the players do just get a pass.
No, I'm not giving the
It's on
players a
James
pass.
Garner. What about Decore's ball into the box at the last kick of the game, floating it into the goalkeeper's arms when we had overlapping players? That's where that's for me is where they've sort of let themselves down. There isn't any variation, and I don't know Charlie Adams or whatever, but also our ball into the box is dreadful. It is dreadful. We don't seem to hit a dangerous cross. If you're trying to put it in front of the goalkeeper, it's got to be a flat ball in, like Hinchcliffe years ago, and Baines used to do. You're seeing it with Arsenal's. Their corners are flat. Who was it the other week? Was it the Arsenal game? Was the Arsenal game, wasn't it? He headed it off the line, Brantwaite. The ball's come... West Ham, Declan Rice's one. It's just underneath the crossbar. So if any nick, you're in trouble. And, no, Arsenal, Declan Rice for fucking West Ham, I know about. Arsenal with Brantwaite, that's headed off the bar. West Ham's corners were dangerous the other week. Because there is variation. You're right, we don't vary it, but our delivery into the box is terrible. Floated up for a big goal. If you're floating it up, take it away from the keeper then and play off the second ball. But we just don't seem to have someone who, under that moment when there's a bit of pressure, can just go, I can deliver a good ball into the penalty area here. We don't have it. And the Liverpool one's right. We get a corner in injury time and it's just lofted into the... That can't be, surely someone who's working
But
on
for me, it's the variation. As much as the quality is terrible, but the variation is really, really poor. Because if you were working on stuff all week, there would be different scenarios, and I just don't see that.
Is he still there? I haven't even heard anything about him other than the first 4 or 5 weeks. He's never on the bench, is he? Unless he's in the stand with a thing.
He's probably just like
the Arsenal one gets like proper involved, doesn't he?
The Villa one has an iPad.
Maybe they've got chips in the body and he just
you know what I mean?
presses a button. And it's like,
Do you know what I mean, mate? He's got an iPad. Mate, do you know what? The problem is, we couldn't have an iPad because he wouldn't get Wi-Fi.
that is an issue. That is the issue. What else did you think about the game? No, what? Because I thought we had. I thought they were rubbish. I thought they were there for the taking. I thought they were there for the taking, and that's what was most disappointing. Was they were there. They weren't very good. They were terrified second half that we'd score, and we couldn't capitalise on it because we just can't create opportunities. We're just so poor in the final third. We just can't ever keep momentum. Ever. We just give the ball away. We pick the wrong pass. The final ball is really poor. There's always something, isn't it? There's always something. Yeah.
And it's something that has to be, it's not looked at. Of course, we need a whole new front three. Plus we need a centre midfielder who can grab hold of a game and lead you forward. That's why I'd like to see, obviously, Carlos Alcaraz given a chance now from the start. Don't see any point why you wouldn't do that now. I mean,
because he's not going to hit the starts anyway now.
No, he's not. So you may and of course, and the position he plays in, means the Corey can come off the team, and the teams we're playing against. It's time to have a good look at him now. Otherwise, there's no point.
Yeah, definitely. Just mix it up. Just mix it all up now.
Should have had a penalty as well.
Yeah, it was weird. Me and James were talking about that before. At the time, I thought there was nothing in it. I thought they just clashed, haven't he? But when you see it again, the goalie's not in control of the ball, and he just takes Michalenko out.
Takes Michalenko out. So it's a penalty.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people now saying to think Jamie O'Hara's gone berserk apparently over it, saying it was 100%.
What's horrible is, and I said, it's the narrative they create again, isn't it? There's no narrative around it. It's one of those things where if the commentator says something, well, he wouldn't. It was Joe Cole, for God's sake. Again, another TV station.
That was unbelievable.
Another TV station.
Every player was unbelievable for Chelsea.
Oh, another TV station again that plays as a homer. It's getting ridiculous. This, and it's so ridiculous. So he's not going to mention it. I thought the commentator was terrible. All he wanted to mention was how many games Everton had like it'd been since we'd won, and not like the positive one of like, you know, how many games we'd lost under Moyes.
Kept trying to sell Branthwaite as well.
Yeah, every time.
Like,
so
that's
it was
why the big boys won him.
Yeah, so you're listening to him, and so you're never going to get that neutrality in that situation. If there was a foul, the foul was on Michalenko, the goalie come crashing into him, it was a penalty. And if you have, and that's the thing about like when you these conversations, it's like that sets the tone, it sets the narrative, and no one really cares. We've said this loads of times. People only care when it's a game that involves a couple of top 4 teams, or it's against the team who were in the top 4 or going for the top 4. But it creates a narrative, and everyone's talking about it. And then today, I don't know whether they've mentioned it on Sky, you know, you need all the people like pushing, you know, your journalists and stuff. I thought someone might have asked them. I thought one of our journalists might have asked them in the press conference afterwards. Penalty. You know, but they didn't. I thought someone might have asked them, might have looked at social media and gone, "Oh, was that might have been a penalty?" and asked them. But no one did, because again, I think you need that voice now and again just to just speak up and go, "That was a penalty. Why? It's another one we haven't got. Well, we don't get them here." But it was a stonewall penalty. It was absolutely stonewall.
Mad, isn't it? It is a bit mad, isn't it?
It's just a pity Everton's commentary isn't in time with the game when it's on TV. It's like, it's probably on time if you've got a Fire Stick, but it's not in time, sadly. Just so that you can go, I'm turning these off. I'm turning these off. It's awful.
They were crying in goals as well for Cole Palmer, weren't they?
Did he play Saki?
He just looked lost.
Told you, mate. He's never been the same since
he looked lost.
Done him for the celebration, has he? He's never been the same.
He looked lost, didn't he? Jake Ablett says, "All right, lads, honestly, there is about 4 players I'd keep, and I wouldn't give a crap if the rest were gone." Fair play. Chermiti says they all need to start versus Ipswich. If they can't do it at home against the Championship club, then we know for certain. I'd loan Chermiti and Patterson next season with a view to keep or sell next summer. Patterson hasn't got much contract left, but we can't sell him now because he's
got 2 years, hasn't he?
Much value. He's got 2 years left.
2 years, Patterson.
Jake says Big Nev seems to have gotten a lot of stick over his recent interview, but when you listen to him, his standards are so high. He's right about some things and how much the club and fan base have been dumbed down to accept mediocrity.
So I was going to ask you about this, but I'm glad someone's brought it up. He put a tweet out last night. Did you see it? He congratulated Liverpool for winning the league, and he said we need a strong Liverpool if Everton are to drive Everton on. Which I'm not so sure about, but and I'm not sure if he's took stick over that from last night.
Probably.
But I do think the sentiment he's saying is correct. I'm not sure he's right about needing a strong Liverpool. I don't think that really matters, because
I think he means the spotlight comes back on us more.
I think he
says we need a strong Liverpool to push our board and players to finish above them. Ambition is power.
No, I agree with all that. But I don't necessarily think it's Liverpool. I think in the 80s that was.
I'll be honest, I don't need to see Liverpool.
No, that's what I'm saying. And I don't. But I don't think that we live in that world anymore where we're driven on by it. But I do appreciate the sentiment, because I think what it does do, and for a lot of people, or what he's saying there is, there was a narrative that used to come out the club of, as long as Liverpool aren't winning things, then everything's fine. So, and we know who pushed that narrative. So, if there is something in the world that drives Everton on, or drives the board on, to show a little bit of ambition, it shouldn't be Liverpool winning anything. And I know John was talking to me the other day with some kits, and we were talking about the 86 kits, and I said how much I hated the 86 kits. It's because we finished second. Because I said I associate that with failure. And he was like, so you don't associate all the other ones with failure? And I was like, no, not really, no, because we lost the double to our nearest rivals that year. So it to me, it's like it's a double blow, isn't it? To me, it's the only time I'm annoyed about Liverpool, finishing top is when if we finish second. That's the only time now. You should.
I'm annoyed about it.
No, I know, but not annoyed. I'm not annoyed. I mean, I don't want to see it, but I'm not annoyed by it. It is what it is. But if we were finishing second, you could be really pissed off about it, but we're not, so it doesn't really make a difference in the grand scheme of things, does it? I don't feel like that anymore because of where Everton are.
It's on us.
Yeah, exactly, and that's it, isn't it? It's up to us, regardless of who our neighbours are, to have our own standards. It's as simple as that, and I get what Nev's saying. If those standards are driven by them winning the league, then that's fine, but it shouldn't really be like that.
No.
But it also should never, ever be what it was under the last board, which was as long as they don't win anything, then everything's fine. And that's what it was.
Well, that's because it took the heat off us.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And I think that's probably what Nev's saying.
Yeah.
Put the heat back on us.
But he lived in an era where it was either us first or them first.
Yeah, but that was only for a few years.
No, but I'm saying that's it.
Don't forget.
There is standards, aren't
when we overcame them in 84, 85, they were the best team in the world. And they were in our city. So we not only had to overcome our rivals in a city, we had to overcome the best team in the world. And we did it.
Absolutely.
We did it brilliantly. And we did it by building the team and getting the right players and the right characters in and then doing it. And only for a European ban we'd have gone on and been stronger. But that was down to the board not being strong enough and not going after the government and making an issue of it and all that. But that's then. But we have to come back.
It's standards, isn't it? That's the thing. The owners might look at what's happened in this city in the last 24 hours and say, we want that. And if they say that's what we want, then you've got to like put your money where your mouth is, haven't you? And it's as simple as that, isn't it? You've got to. If David Moyes goes if David Moyes goes to them this summer and is genuinely says, I want X amount of money and I want these players, well then as long as PSR is adhered to, then you've got to back him. You've got to back him as much as you can. If the manager has now discovered, and I know we're going to come on this, but if he's discovered he needs X amount of players, if he's already made his mind up about 10 players now or whatever, then you've got to back him. And if that means backing him sort of halfway for some of those players, in terms of maybe it's not the one you want right now, but maybe in a couple of years when PSR's in a better place, then you can go and get the full version, then maybe so. But if you want a taste of success, whether that success is from the rivals in this city or just looking what happens everywhere else, then you've got to back the manager. You can't just sit there. You've got to back the manager and have a go for it and do what's needed. Do what's needed to create the financial circumstances, make Everton a global brand, upset the apple cart, get the sponsors in, build something on Nelson's dock to provide extra income. Whatever it takes, you've got to do that. If you want to do it properly, do it properly. Don't, you can't just, because it's on your doorstep. I think that's what Nev's saying as well, isn't it? It's there, isn't it? The challenge, the big challenge, the real challenge is on your doorstep. And it doesn't really matter what Everton do. It will always pale into. If Everton have a good season and they get into Europe, it ain't going to matter if your nearest rivals and the fans are getting to do their street parades at the end of the season.
Yeah, but we've got to start getting back into Europe.
No, I know. But I'm saying if you can't, if you want to judge,
you don't just stop there.
If you want to judge yourself, that's what I'm saying. If you want to judge yourself as being like, you've got to. That's the problem, isn't it, with having that? And that's what City did, didn't they? They had to do the same thing. No, it's slightly different circumstances, but they had to overcome the beast, the absolute beast.
Got to move forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Got to move forward. MGBN78 says Villa got far in the UCL. Forest got to an FA Cup semi-final and they'll get Europe. Newcastle got Champions League as well. No excuses about the past. The Dyche has showed the standards are on the floor at this club. Yeah. Dyche is the one that should be held up as an absolute disgrace.
Forest should have got to the final, by the way. My God, towards the end.
White missed.
Oh my God. Morgan gets White at the bar with an unbelievable effort, but then he went round the goalkeeper and hit the post. That would have made it 2-1. Then they hit the post again. They had City for the last 15 minutes, absolutely rattled, didn't he? And he went round.
Volley was lovely though.
His volley was City will piss it, though.
I don't know.
Rodri's back, they reckon.
Don't know what that. You don't know, do you? Palace
had a 3-0 lead and they still beat them. So.
Yeah, Palace are a cup team, aren't they?
Yeah, Palace were great. Palace were sensational on Saturday.
But I was just talking about how far basically Forest had come now.
Forest had been.
They had City.
It's weird because all three of those teams we're talking about have been virtually getting relegated, and the next minute, and two of them are in the Champions League. Newcastle are going to get back in it. I know. Newcastle spent money, but they haven't like blown. They haven't done what Everton can't do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What have all three teams got in the final third?
A striker.
Pace, though.
And pace, yeah.
Pace.
Oh, no. I mean, yeah, but I watched Palace. I was saying to James, I watched Palace on Saturday. They had Mateta through the middle, Eze, Sarr, who I've wanted forever in a bleeding day, and I don't understand why Everton didn't get him, and that's on Kevin Thelwell. And then they've got people coming through behind from midfield who were runs. You look at our front four, and you go,
Yeah.
Beto, it's just a squad striker. Jack Harrison doesn't score, he runs out. And Jai at the weekend, Casado may as well have said, get in my pocket and I'll see you at half time. And who's coming through? A lad who plays 30 odd games and has got 3 goals. There's nothing in that team. You look at Palace, who Everton's defence is miles better, it's proven it. The midfield, I don't know, you can, whatever. They're both mid-table midfield, but Palace's attack is brilliant. And Everton's attack is shocking. So you can do it. Forest bought about 1 million players, but have crafted a team with pace. Haven't they? And Gibbs White's excellent. They're a good side. Villa were battling with Everton when they beat us. That's when they beat us 2-0 at home when Buendia scored that day. They were in the bottom half. If Everton had beat them, there's a point between the two teams. They went like that, and we went towards the bottom. They've never looked back. They bought really well. And Newcastle have done the same, but they've all done it from, Newcastle were gone, weren't they, that year? They won 1 game. No team had ever stayed up winning 1 game at Christmas or something. And they turned it round, and they haven't looked back, and they've bought well. They've also got real pace. Those teams have got pace. You looked at Chelsea and Everton on Saturday. They had Madueke and Neto, who were just flying. Jackson's a good striker, and they have obviously Cole Palmer, who, didn't do anything, but he's just behind. You looked at us when we broke. There was nothing. And Jai looked slow. Harrison kept coming back. Decore wasn't in the game, and Beto couldn't keep hold of it. And then the midfield was poor as well. So, but you're seeing the wide areas. And if you go through the team, Liverpool got Diaz and Salah and Gakpo and whoever, and Arsenal, Waneri and Saka when he's on it, Martin. All the best teams have got that pace in the wide areas and people coming through, and that's really where David Moyes has to sort of look at that and craft that into what we've got. Because I'll say it again, Everton, when they got the first choice back four, I've got like a Champions League level type defence in terms of what it concedes. Not is it good enough to play in it, I just mean them numbers, or it's like a European qualification type defensive numbers. Not saying there's not better players, because there is, but as a unit they're quite good. The midfield's much of a muchness, mid to lower table. That's how it performs, because of it doesn't have goals or creativity. But we're performing in an attacking sense as a championship side, because we can't get any goals.
No.
But the only reason we're not winning, Beto stopped scoring goals. Everyone else is still doing what they were doing, only he was scoring goals. So how's that continued? We're seeing. So that's where we've got to do our work. The structure, I think, is okay. We need better. We need a lad in midfield who can put his foot on it and just control up, get the game a little bit. Alcaraz still, to me, when he comes on, looks like our best midfielder in terms of travelling with the ball. Not Garner's the best midfielder, but don't actually think he had a good game at Drissa at the weekend. But Alcaraz can take it and he can switch the play, and he's mobile, isn't he? Makes runs. But there's not enough of that.
No.
Is there? And Jai just wasn't.
There's just not enough talent.
Yeah.
Not enough talent and not enough pace.
It's the pace is the real thing, though, isn't it? The pace is the real, and that's what we're going to have.
Do you think he learnt anything on Saturday?
I think he probably learned the front four aren't good enough.
What do you think about Patterson? Because, getting taken off after 60 minutes is not a good look,
I think
it?
he's probably always going off after 60 odd minutes.
He didn't have a good game, though.
I thought he'd done some decent stuff, and other stuff he was a little bit. Same with Jake O'Brien. I thought he'd done some good stuff. Didn't cover Patterson like Tarkowski covers the right back early on. It's on him, isn't it? It's on him. He's got to.
The pass back to Pickford was really
That was shocking. That was
really
shocking.
bad.
But again, that's not playing. The lad, when was the last game he started
But he
in the
done that
Premier
as
League?
well, didn't he, against was it Wolves, and got away with it? He passed it back and he just Pickford got him out of jail again with it. I can't remember.
I think
He just looks. I think
play.
He just doesn't look. He just to me doesn't look like he believes he belongs at this level.
Because he never plays. So
I know, but I just think some players play with confidence, don't they? And he just doesn't look like a player who believes he can do it. And I thought, I just worry. I worry for him. I think Moyes will play him. I mean, if he doesn't play on Saturday, then we know. But I think Moyes will play him. He'll give him every chance.
I do. But it's on him, isn't it?
But he doesn't strike me as. He doesn't strike. I think you'd have to hold your hands up and like say, we could do much better, couldn't we? We could do much better. So, it might be one of those things of just cutting our losses.
Almost have to see, won't we?
No, but would you keep him? Do you honestly think he's a future right back?
Got to play. I haven't seen enough of him, mate. I certainly don't judge a player after 63 minutes.
No, he's been with us for 3 years, though.
No, I know, but no one's.
But isn't that like also a massive issue that like if you don't sell him this summer, you're not really going to get.
Yeah, but I wouldn't trust the 2 years Dyche was here. That's scrap.
No, I know, but I'm just saying he's been here for 3 years. He's only got 2 left.
Yeah.
If you want to try and make any money on him,
well, Everton have been linked with Tarek Lamptey again today. He's obviously free in the summer, isn't he? And he's not great defensively, but he is quick going forward, and he's good at. I think he's still up there for dribbling. What I think is the manager will. I think he'll play him in a couple more games, then he'll make a decision. But what I would say is he's gonna have to improve a lot from what he played on Saturday for David Moyes. I think, he's got a chance. He just looks like he's shot of all confidence as well, and that if you can't get that back, that's a bigger thing than actually having the talent's probably there, but it's all about putting the consistent run together, being assured in what you do. Like Jake O'Brien hadn't played that day and coming at right back and was solid immediately, wasn't he? I don't know. I'm not convinced, but I still wouldn't make a decision on 63 minutes. I look at other people and shake my head as to why they're in the team lately of what, because they're just not offering much. But it's one of them. You look at it and go, well, this fella will make the decision. He knows what's needed to play in the Premier League, doesn't he? You look at,
I don't think he'll be in Everton playing next season. I just don't think he will.
Probably a good opportunity he won't. I don't think. A couple of people have mentioned Roman Dixon. Roman Dixon won't be at Everton next year, either.
No chance.
He'll be on his way.
What's the show from Friday?
I think Lamptey maybe. I think they might get in, but again, he's
played left back against us as well, didn't he? So he can do both.
Yeah, he's quick. He's direct. I just wonder if Moyes just looks at O'Brien and goes, "Nah, you're going to play right back for him because he's solid." I think they need another left back. I think Micho said before many a time, I think he's really strong 1v1. I think that's his like MO. You need a man marking job almost. He's brilliant at it. But I think if Njai's going to continue to play on the left, Everton need a pacey left back who gets up and wants to support. There's loads of holes, isn't there? There's loads you look at it and go, okay, what would you've got to prioritise, haven't you? Let's be honest, Young and Coleman are going to be done, I think. So you're left with Patterson and O'Brien as the right side. Now Moyes might look and go, he's all right as a number 2 right back. I don't know. He might not. He might say, no, we can do better than they think you need to move for your career, whatever. And he might identify, it could be someone like Lamptey who comes in. They need to do the same on the left. Midfield. Issues in midfield. But I do think you can piece a midfield together if you've got the other components getting up and who are dangerous. You can almost get workman-like midfielders to give it. Forest have got 2 very workman-like, haven't they? Elliot Anderson is certainly one of them who will sit in and there's busy. Yates does a good job for them. They're not great players, but the workhorses.
Yeah, the workhorses will allow Gibbs White.
And there you go, Gibbs White can and then they've got good pacing wide there, and you've got Chris Wood down the middle. And but
even if you look at Gibbs White, the physique of Gibbs White, big, strong lad, little bit of pace, can get round the pitch, can carry the ball well. We don't have anyone like that.
I'll tell you who, only because Ken's just mentioned them here. I watched a bit of Southampton, Fulham at the weekend. Just had it on. while I was editing and stuff. And he did really well. He looked really, and he's out of contract, isn't he? And they're gone. He's 27. He's a bit older than what I'd like, but maybe we need that mid-range.
Play right back and left back.
Yeah, he can play both, cover both. So therefore, he could be one Everton look to identify. Free transfer, loads of minutes in the Premier League. Good attitude.
Well, you can see players like that coming in and being fillers, can't you? The likes of him would definitely be someone we'd probably target, those mid-tier players, especially on a free transfer, dropping out of the Premier League. Those players are no-brainers, aren't they, to come in? I mean, we brought someone in who was 10 years older, you know, as Ashley Young. So why not go? Why not get a 27-year-old?
And Young's been a good signing,
exactly,
hasn't he?
So there's no reason why you couldn't do that.
No, again. The whole thing you look at. Mangala, by the way, Carl, isn't coming back, mate. His knee's gone. He's not back till December. And they want 20 odd million for him.
No.
We can't hang around. There's no time to hang around.
And you know, we're signing Thomas Souček anyway, so.
He said he's happy to stay, isn't he? Wants to stay.
I think we'll go. I think we will go.
Potter's in there.
I imagine we'll go for him.
We're talking about sacking Potter, aren't they?
No, that's not a shock.
West Ham don't know what they want, do they?
You just forgot about something really big from the weekend, though.
Go on.
What did you make of the yellow shorts?
The shorts.
Controversial, wasn't it? I'll be honest, I didn't like it.
No.
But I'm not a kick connoisseur. I just didn't like it. The kick.
I saw those. I'll be honest. I saw those shorts last summer.
I know, yeah, but did you like them?
So there was no shock to me.
No, I wasn't shocked by them, but I didn't like them within the kit. That's what I'm saying.
It's a rubbish kit anyway. So
I like that.
It's rubbish. It's absolutely rubbish.
Sells your kick connoisseur.
It's rubbish kit. It's got no right to be an Everton kit at all. The shorts are terrible.
All right.
It hasn't got any right. It's awful.
Do you prefer it with the black shorts?
It hasn't got a pat. It's got no pat.
See, I think that other kit's worse.
The pattern on it is ridiculous.
The
cream one.
Yeah.
The pattern on it's ridiculous.
Such an anemic kit. That cream one. It's like, man, you don't. We have been anemic, haven't we? It just sort of sums up that era that we just had with that board and with that manager. Kit fits it perfectly with it. Lewis Ferguson, yeah, he's a good player. Lewis Ferguson is a good player. Bologna, but how much did he want? There's lots of players, isn't it? Lots of players who are out there who we need. Rather than going chasing ones who are probably going to be a bit too expensive. But we'll see.
Scott McTominay would have been great, wouldn't he?
Another 2 last night, didn't he? What about Roma going to Inter and winning? Blowing Serie A wide open.
He came in the top, aren't he?
He's
they would be top. So.
He looks a good player, that lad. He's actually fit to us really well.
Who?
The lad who scored.
Scott McTominay, yeah.
No,
really
for Roma.
It was
the Argentine lad scored. Cracking player.
Exactly, yeah.
The Argentine though. Sule. Yeah, he do us actually. But apparently they want to build the team around them. But you know what? Maybe if Dan went to Dan, if Dan asked
just
Dan
himself in the mirror
and said, you know, Dan, what would it take to split out your club, Dan? Dan be like, couple of bob, Dan. Don't you know if you've got it, Dan? Dan be like, I've got it, Dan. What about you, Dan? He'd be like, Dan, I've got it. Do you want it? He'd be like, you can have it, Dan.
Maybe
let's make a deal, Dan.
Say if they were to sell Roma, do you reckon they would be willing to sell their own players that are good to Everton if they're going to keep Everton?
What, before they sold Roma?
Yeah.
Like just a big fire sale?
Yeah, like a
footy manager.
Yeah.
Just quickly doing it before this.
Get all the good. We'll have Dybala, we'll have Sule, we'll have all them, and then sell Roma.
I think there might be something in the contract that doesn't really allow that to happen.
Might get looked at. With frowning eyes, James, to be fair. Adam says, all right, lads, he worried about how much work we've got to do this summer. The squad needs a complete overhaul. It's not just the ones out of contract. I'd be looking to shift. Keep telling myself we need to be prioritising wingers with pace, as we've not had one for years, but we also have not had a proper centre forward that we can hang our hat on since Lukaku. So many holes to fill, it's not going to be... Oh, it isn't going to be easy. That's for sure. I don't know whether there is any centre forwards who you can hang your hat on, because everyone wants them. There's ones who are promising, there's ones who are potential. I don't think there's any. There's no Lukaku's out there, that's for sure. Who you could look and go,
You've got to build them, haven't you? You've got to get them in. That's why you should have a system where you already have someone in place, and then someone comes in. Is that player Chermiti? He's going to need time, isn't he? So you need someone maybe more established.
What do you do though with the strikers? Because
there's 4 of them, and honest to God, we must have the only biggest problem in the Premier where we've got 4 strikers, and literally none of them might be at Everton next season in one capacity or another. So that leaves the manager with a massive problem, because obviously we know they're the most expensive.
Bros is going, isn't he?
Yeah.
I thought, he might start on Saturday, but I'd start Chermiti personally, but hey ho. Beto.
It's 50-50.
If a good offer comes in for him, they'll have to consider it, won't they?
He'll sell him, even though he's a squad striker, isn't he? He's Dom, I still think he'll go. And Chermiti, I don't know what's best for him. I honestly don't know what's best for him. I don't know whether for his development he is best just going and playing for a year somewhere, and then we know, do you know what I mean? Or do we keep him and use him for us? Because it's not like we've got goals everywhere and we can afford to let him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the massive issue. So Everton could need 2-3 strikers this summer.
I feel like as well with Chermiti that I know he's been injured this season, but if next season's the same where he's only getting like 5 minutes at the end, it's just pointless in being here.
That's what I mean.
He needs to be developed, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So what does he do? Do we keep him?
He barely played.
It depends what Moyes believes, what his attributes are, whether he can mould him into a kind of player that.
All right, well, I'm asking you.
I mean, on Saturday,
20,
when
right?
he came on Saturday, he wasn't good, was he? You know, he wasn't like, he didn't do anything to affect the game, did he? Do you know what I mean? He kept on getting caught offside. You know, he wanted too much time on the ball, and it got taken off him. He didn't add anything to the game, and you've got to have that like level of consistency where when you come on, you're doing a job, aren't you? You're doing you know, and even like you even get like, I don't know, you get like more older heads who can come on, and just even if you go, right, he'll win every header, he'll flick it on. With younger players, you know what you're going to get. So it's what the manager sees in him, or what he thinks he can mould them into. If he doesn't feel like he can do that, then these professional players are very capable of adapting really quickly, aren't they? Especially in like a pre-season or something. It's the very, you know, that's they're switched on, and that's what a manager will look at, is how quickly how much he can get. I was watching Mateta on Saturday, and thinking how much has he come on? I remember him at Everton a couple of seasons ago, and he was woeful. His touch was terrible. Everything. Now he picks the ball up and he shakes people off, and he's you know, and he's not. I think Rooney said it before the game on Saturday. He was like, he's not the best on the eye, but he's got something about him, and that's how much he's come on.
Me and Piv had him in one of our videos years ago when he was playing in Germany as someone a bit potential, but he was raw. When Palace took him, he still looked raw. Don't forget, I think he only got 2 goals or something in their first. He scored a back heel at Brighton to win it later on for them, remember that? But he come to go that 3-2 when we beat, when we stayed up. He looked like a yard. He was terrible. Dreadful. He looked terrible. 10 times worse than Beto. He was terrible.
First season, 32 appearances, 2 goals.
Yeah. Back heel,
but it wasn't even the goals. It was just his all. It was all round, like.
But obviously, they put the work in, and they've refined them, and he's got on a run. And what else helps him is that they do have Eze, who travels with the ball. They do have Sarr, who scores goals and weighs in with it. You know, they've got Nketiah, he hasn't scored the goals people thought he might have done, but he's a live wire for them. You know, they've got other players who back him up, and therefore he's been able to develop. And it hasn't all been about him, because there's other goals. For Everton, the focus is always going to go to the striker, because no one else has got a goal in the matter. That's the problem. So everyone automatically looks at the striker and goes, you don't score. Beto, you're not scoring. Dom, you don't score enough. Whoever it is, bros, you're crap, you can't score. You know what I mean? You're always going to look until you've got a lad who's putting the ball in the net regularly for you, and then you trust them. They still need the other players. Just because Everton get a 20-goal season striker next season, if they did, doesn't really change if the wingers and the midfielders aren't scoring. because that's how it all complements and works together. But we're going to have to look and go, what do we do here with the strikers? There's ones where you look around Europe, look at someone like Tierno Barry at Villarreal, look at him, and he's 6'4" or 5" or something, pace, can score goals, but he's another one who would come into the Premier League. He could hit the ground running, and you go, what a player. He could be like Beto, where it's like, do you know what I mean? Because he's not like, you don't look at him and go, wow, what a footballer he is, because everyone would take him. Yeah. So we're going to have to get that player who is promising, but you also know you've got to take the edges off him, and you've got to put the work into him. And maybe that's where Moyes needs to bring in a striker coach. Go and get, tell Rooney to stop doing bloody punditry and come in and coach our forwards or something, or you know what I mean, or whoever, go and get a striker. I always go on about the Scottish fella who come in for a bit when we had Lukaku and that, who take them. All of that extra individual coaching takes the edges. Moyes just done it before with Strachwell. He took a player who wasn't fit for purpose, kept them away from the team for about 4 months, and then put him in, and he come in and was able to have a little bit of an effect on some games. He still wasn't very good, but he was able to affect some games. But if you do that with someone with real potential and put the work in, then hopefully it'll come out. It's not going to be an easy job, because loads of teams need a striker, don't they? But I guess what would separate us slightly from others who are looking is they maybe need the ones who, when you go, well, Liverpool need, or whoever, Arsenal need a striker. We're not going to be shopping in the same market as them. So we've got to take the one underneath. That might be someone like Liam Delap, but then the worry with Liam Delap, the slight worry with Liam Delap is he's only really had this season. Now you could go, well, yeah, but he's 21, so you've got to build on. And he was at City, and a lot of Man City's ex-players are good, aren't they? So you look and go, can he do it? And I don't know if he'll have another good season. He might do. Might be great if Everton got him. He might not. You don't know, do you? But there's not going to be anyone where you go, we bought him and he's going to get a ton of goals. You buy them and go, hopefully he'll be a good signing for us. But you can sort of double down in wide areas and get pace and get lads who are used to putting the ball in the net. Because if we carry on with doing this, we're going to struggle again, aren't we?
No, we're not going to carry on doing this.
No, but I'm saying we're going to struggle again, aren't we? Because there's no goals in it. Gary Ward says, I think Alcaraz and Chermiti are worth looking at. Not sure about Patterson. Bill says, it's clear we need pace, cutting edge and composure in attack. For me, Decore and Beto were not good enough to start now. So many attacks break down with them. Also, looking at Forest, Bournemouth and Palace on the weekend, we need more pace, physicality and guile. I'd start Alcaraz at the 10 the next 2 home games. We need to see him there. Mike says the referee might as well have had the Chelsea shirt on Saturday. The game was hard enough the way we were playing. He thinks Patterson needs to go. Nathaniel says, feel as if we've reverted to type the last few games. Very difficult to break down, but the starting 11 is so devoid of quality, it's painful to watch sometimes. Personally, I'd play a front three of Njai, Alcaraz and McNeil until the end of the season. Who's the striker then? Who's the striker, Nathaniel? Come on. We're still lacking pace, but with Alcaraz and Njai in the same side, I think we'd look much better on the ball. We know that what Decore offers with his work rate and discipline, but that's simply not good enough. Nathan says this isn't the same positive style we played when Moyes came in. Beto was getting balls played in front of him. That didn't happen against Chelsea. I'd love to see Njai get a shot at Cam. Let's hope Alcaraz gets a shot instead of Dukes. Andrew says Chermiti needs a loan next year. He's just not played enough senior football and he will never develop. Yeah, Josh says poor results on Saturday. Sadly, it's our forward players letting us down. Luckily, we have a window soon to fix it. Yeah. Mark says a Greep head. Must be on Charlie Adam. James Garner can get binned also in the summer. We need an upgrade. Beto, Niash, Barlow, Angel. What's the order? Don't know. Black and Blue suspending the week in Conway. We were in front of the queue in the Potty Bakery this morning. Nice fingers, all that is right. Enjoyed them, mate. Enjoyed them. Barry Finnegan says the blue flares were hilarious. They've had blue. tops before and kits, haven't he? Do you want to be... Derek, of course, you can't judge a player on 45 minutes. You'd need at least a dozen games. I'd say a season. Phil Williams says smash corners, crossbar height as flat as you can. Yeah, exactly. Any touches, you're in trouble. Derek says, hi lads, I agree with 4 staying. Virginia, Begovic, Garner, Gay and Alcaraz, the rest on loan. Players are out of contract. I'd be okay to leave. There's a stiff decision to be made on Chermiti, Beto. Patterson, maybe send Chermiti out on loan. Give Patterson a run till the end of the season. If he does not impress, move him on. I would also expect a decent offer for Beto. They will sell Beto, won't they, if they get...
Yeah, I could imagine someone will come in with like a 17, 18 million pound bid for him, or something in that region plus add-ons or something like that, because he scored goals. He was close to going back to Italy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
In the window. If the manager makes it abundantly clear, and I think the manager sort of has made it clear, he wants better. You know, you listen to him in the press conferences, you know, the way he spoke about the goal we conceded, you know, he put the blame squarely on Beto for not being able to like hold the ball up. And I think you've seen that a little bit from Moyes, where he's just like, I don't care about any of you because you're all going. It feels like there's a little bit like that of like, if you can't, you're the reason why we are where we are. I know, you know, in terms of players, if you can't step up, then you're going. I'm here to improve Everton. I'm bringing better players than all you, and that's what he will do. And he won't have any. No one can sort of have any issues with that when you, especially the forward players. You know, not putting it all on one player, but the goal return is absolutely dreadful. Like it's terrible. You know, so. That he's very pointed in his with his opinions. You know, he's no issue with that at all.
Didn't see him impressed with Patterson or O'Brien either at the weekend. When he was asked that, do you think he did? And he went, okay. And he just looked away.
I thought O'Brien was fine, to be honest. I thought he was fine. I thought he went in there and he was doing the job he was asked to do. Branthwaite, I thought, had a really good game. He took that leadership, man.
The goal, though, he still should have done better with the goal, as I'll point out on the final word. I don't understand why Everton centre-backs don't get block shots. It just blow. Without Tarkowski, no one blocks shots. O'Brien twice just let Madueke have a shot, like he did with Trossard the other week. It just blows my mind. You take one more step, the shot's not on, and yet Branthwaite just stood, put a foot out. It's just weird. It's dead weird. Ian the Blue says, afternoon, all I've said it on here before and I'm saying it again, Garner is useless. He's done nothing. He was decent for Forest in the Championship. Think the Premier League is out of his depth. Who knows? Stephen says, hey lads, our corners, oh my God. My lad puts better corners in than Everton. Derek says all professional footballers should be able to put the ball on the proverbial sixpence. I remember seeing on YouTube Tom Davies doing tricks, lobbing a ball into buckets and knocking a bottle over from 20 yards. I find it incredible. We've got 2 centre-backs, 6'5" and 6'6", and we can't do a set piece around that. Simon says, think Moyes is making his mind up on a few players. Play the team that finished on Saturday and see what happens. Phil Williams says that gap between Branthwaite and O'Brien, shocking. It was. Driver bleeding bust through it. But then your centre forward still needs to lay the ball off. And you haven't got time to just keep a ball and go, I'll see what's on. We don't do things quick enough. Chermiti come on and done the same. Really good first touch and then just picked his head up like, what's on next? And the ball was taken off him. Like, why do you think there's this much time? We either not intense in training, and I don't believe that. So why do you think on a Premier League pitch you've got that time? The best team zip it round. And mad. Jake says, I personally don't believe Charlie Adam was hired for set pieces alone. He must take training sessions and offer other things. James Garner floating 2 corners into the 6-yard box. Say to the keeper, come and get me, is on the player.
And the keeper was full of confidence because he just made 2 saves as well.
As if he'd ever make saves like that. He chose Saturday to have a good game. Let's be having you, says, afternoon lads. They all need more minutes either way, or we'll never know if they're good enough. Can't just throw them in at the deep end. Judge them on that, especially Patterson and Chermiti. No one could have argued we didn't deserve it if we got something out the game. We improved second half. And it was a half-decent performance overall, apart from the set pieces. Roll on next season with hopefully some added quality. Ian the Blue says, we all know how poor the Premier League is. I'm paraphrasing, including VAR. There was an incident in the Bournemouth Man United game yesterday, the sending off, where the player clearly slipped, but VAR didn't even look at it. Evan Nielsen was that.
Yeah.
VAR did look at it.
They did look at it.
Do you think it was a red card?
Well, he did slip,
didn't he?
He did slip.
He did catch.
He did slip, but it was also, when he slipped, it was also like dangerous, wasn't it? So it's how you interpret laws, isn't it?
James says, why do you think Njai was taken off? He looked off the pace to me.
Yeah, he doesn't look fit.
Didn't look fit.
Does not look fit at all.
Derek says, I think it's more they didn't do so little not to be given more minutes. Steve P says, I honestly don't know what some of our fans are seeing in James Garner. I genuinely saw people saying he's our best technical midfielder, which is mad to me. He's one of the first people I'd be upgrading if I was Moyes, if we ever want to move forward. Darius says, that reminded me of the Villa game. I feel like the manager would be saying similar things about how we need to creating 3 times the chances we did. Bill says, don't think Njai's fully fit. He's the only one I keep at those forward. Gary thinks any extra game time will help their development. Jay says, I keep Alcaraz. He's the only one of our midfielders who was comfortable on the ball. I'm not mad about Patterson. He seems okay, but I want better than okay. What was so evident again, probably only 2 or 3 of our players can string a pass together. Everything is either over or under hit. Then you have receivers who clearly can't take care of the ball. And I think Beto signed his own death warrant for Chelsea.
The irony is, Beto just had his best moment of the game when he was taken off, wasn't he?
Good, that was a really good save as well, Sanchez. But that was the first sort of time we give him a ball in to run onto, wasn't it? In the game, you got to look at your midfield and creating anything. But I mean, would it be a decision like that David Moyes would go, right, because of that, you're definitely gone? Do you think that could, or do you think it'd be? He's far more methodical than that, Moyes.
No, he's probably taking most from what he sees in training. That's why I think most of it will be. I think he'll have made his mind up on most of these players right now, because he's got to. He's got to have made his mind up, so he knows who's getting a contract and who he's looking at for next season. So I think, Patterson's come into the team, and obviously, and he can have a look at him and look at O'Brien. But I get the feeling he already has made a decision on these players. Maybe if he's on the fence, the next few games are really, really important for those players. And let's not forget, we don't need to sell Patterson. It just means, do we buy a new is a right back now on the list? It's not a case of, we've got to sell Patterson. Again, if an offer came in for him, the manager might go, if you get a decent offer for him, that'll be brilliant for PSR. We can move him on and buy a replacement. But it doesn't mean we have to, Patterson, we looked at, and the manager might go, right, I've seen enough. If I buy these other players, actually, maybe we could get away with having him as our starting right back because he'll grow. Who knows? Or he might say he might be second choice, and then the player might go, I don't want to be second choice. I'd like to leave, please. The only one, I'll be honest, I think the only one he's probably still on the fence about is Alcaraz, because he can be on the fence about him, and that's why he's got to start playing now. If he's got 3 games now, these next 3 games, you look at him and go, put him in for those 3 and leave him on the pitch in his right position and have a look at him. There's no reason why not. 2 decent home games, a decent away game, get him on the pitch. There's no reason now. But I do think for most of the players, he'll know now. Because you've got to put those feelers out. You've got to know who's getting a contract and who's not getting a contract. This is the time to do it. So, and hopefully, and it's replacements, isn't it? It is those replacements.
Chris says we were very pedestrian in possession. The players should know the pass before they receive the ball. Absolutely should. Phil says Roma are unbeaten in 18 now.
Yeah.
Chances of looking at some loans from our sister club. But they're not going to loan us their best players, are they, as much as we'd like to think so. Gravison says Moyes now showing he is in the future. Get Iriola in, give him money to spend. Moyes will waste it.
Why would Iriola come to us?
He's with Spurs, hasn't he? To stay at Bournemouth.
He might have his eye on one of Barcelona or Real Madrid or something, or Arsenal or whoever, but I don't understand how has Moyes shown that. It's the same group of players. He has managed to get the points to get us safe. That was
safe mid-March.
That was the job. And we've come up against, you know, the top 5 or 6, depending. They've moved around a bit, but it's...
We've all been in the top 5 when we played them, haven't we? Not now and stuff, but... Gavin says you can see it a mile off. Alcaraz has something.
Yeah.
The same when Kale and Arteta turned up. They weren't brilliant, but then flourished.
But the decision he's got to make is, does Alcaraz fit into the model that he wants to bring in, or could he get someone better for the same money, or is there another player? You know, if not saying he is, but if the manager is looking at Souček, let's just say he is, and he scored another typical kind of his goal, didn't he, on Saturday, that you would look for if he was at Everton. That's why I'd want him in the Everton team, to score that kind of goal. Then that sort of makes that position. It eliminates that position, doesn't it? And then you go, well, you've just wasted 15 million. But then you could play Alcaraz in 2 or 3 positions. So that there's the benefit of that as well.
That's why I think he's a good.
No,
he can play right, left, central.
I do like the way, and I liked it on Saturdays when he comes on. He wants, you can see it, he wants to affect the game straight away. He wants to do something with. I mean, there was one where we had a breakaway, and I think we were breaking it. It fell to better, just give the ball away. We were breaking because he picked up the ball. And he's got that tenacity. I don't think anyone.
It wasn't Beto gone off. It was Thingy. It was Decore took it off. Or it might have been Beto, but there was one where Decore took it off, and we had runners. No,
it was Beto. This one, it was
Beto?
Just before he went off.
Yeah.
But you can see that that's what he wants to do, and that's why you've got to play him in a more central area where he knows what he's doing, and there's no reason not to do that now. Whether he likes him or doesn't like him, or he has made his mind, to play him, give him an opportunity to see. There's no, you know. Listen, there's no reason why you wouldn't now, unless you're thinking no, there's no point.
No, you've got to let him. Surely you give him a go. You give him a go and see whether he can do anything. If he can't, then he can't, can he? But why wouldn't you just say, well, you know, off you go. What can you do? Are we going to keep you? Well, we'll see, won't we? It's the only way to know whether or not he's got it. You know, he's always capable of having a shot. You know, we come on at the weekend, he had a shot. He completed 14 out of 15 of his passes. He created 1 chance. 29 touches of the ball. 67% of his dribbles completed. 100% crossing accuracy. 67% accurate long balls.
Set up Dwight McNeil's chance, didn't he?
1 clearance, 1 headed clearance, 1 defensive action.
Should Dwight McNeil have buried that, by the way?
He should have hit it straight. He hit it back where it come from, and the bounce.
He should never have bounced it.
It should have gone here.
And Everton have managed him, Alcaraz, in a way that obviously meant they weren't going to trigger the contract. So it was a case of when they needed to play him, he played, and when he didn't need to play, they didn't play him. Now they've got an opportunity to just play him. So
no, it's gonna be the manager will decide, won't he? And he'll know what he wants. Like you say, it mightn't even be whether or not he thinks he's good enough. It might be, does he fit what David Moyes wants? But I personally, I'd keep Alcaraz, because I think when you've got a player who is comfortable playing, you can see he's good on the ball. We don't have enough of them. He's got a bit about him. He's not slow. He's not lightning, but he's not slow. He can travel with the ball, and he can do a job in 3 positions. I don't think you get many of them at 22. I think he's 22. I don't think you get many of them for 15 million quid. I really don't. And I think really, to me, he's like a David Moyes kind of signing, because he can do a few jobs. You know, and I don't know. The manager sees him every day. I don't. But mostly when I've seen him come on, I've liked what I've seen. Mostly. There's been a couple of games he's come on, he hasn't got into it and been able to get into it. But I think there's been more positive than negative with Alcaraz.
It's going to be a very, very interesting summer, isn't it? It's going to be really interesting. I think one thing you can't sort of deny in many ways is that David Moyes just wants to raise the standards. You know, you can see that in everything he says. He wants to raise the standards. He's not, you know, we watched the press conference on Friday, and just like when he was talking about the pitch not being ready, he was just like, you could see he was not happy about that at all. Just like little things like that of like, oh, I've been told we can't train there, I wanted to train there. Not happy about that. You know, like things like that would have been completely out of his control. He'll now be trying to get back under his control. Maybe not everybody agrees with that, but that's where the club is right now, because it's half of one, half of another things till everything's sorted out, you know, till the new CEO comes in, till the structure behind the scenes is sorted out. There's going to be, you know, there's going to be ins and outs when, you know, when Kevin Felwood leaves, you know, in Scotland they're talking about Prosser going and stuff like that up there with them as well. So there's going to be, and you know, there's going to be ins and outs, and until that's all settles down, it's, you know.
Everton confirmed that Mick Doherty's back.
Have they?
Well, a source in Scotland have said he's back at Everton. That's the chief, one of the scouting things.
I don't know, but there's going to be loads, isn't there? Until we get that. That's, you know, goes back to what we were talking about before about other teams and stuff. It's standards, isn't it? It's the standards you drive. We talked about it if you were watching on Friday. We talked about the under-21s and the under-18s, and you know, again, the under-21s on Friday night, 2-up, and they get beat 4-2. It's just like, fuck's sake, honest to God.
The 18s can see the 4.
Can you not? Do you not know how to grind out a win?
If people aren't going and closing shots down like the way through the club, then they're going to concede goals.
It's about driving those standards up.
It is.
It's about driving those standards up and you know, bringing good players in and players who do those things. You know, they do those things.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to be really interesting about the summer. Just see who we bring in and the kind of players we go forward with.
MGBN78 says, agree with Baz. One issue I've seen with us in the past decade or so, our full-backs never stop crosses, and our centre-backs really stop at the absolute basics of defending. It is weird that we've just never done it well enough. Daniel Barton, the YouTube member, says, with the goal, the two centre-backs have gone wide, expecting a pass from Pickford to play out from the back like that boy Pickford did, and then Beto did, was suicidal.
I don't get this blame for Pickford.
The manager, if you listen to that full clip, the manager sort of has a go. He says I've listened to whether it's a good pass, it's the right thing to do or not. He's sort of saying he shouldn't have gone.
If you listen to the whole thing, he says everyone's obsessed with playing out from the back, and he just says
and you see goals conceded like
Beto should have just stopped it, but the players split.
Yeah, but he says whether it was a good ball from Pickford or not.
Well, he says it's a good ball.
Go and listen to it.
No, I haven't.
He sort of says you can argue it was a good pass or it wasn't a good pass, but Beto should have done better with
it. They'd split. But
Branthwaite, if you just watch it again, by the time Nicholas Jackson gets it, Branthwaite sort of jogs over and can still go tight, and he doesn't. He just dangles a foot, it's in. It's like, if he goes tight, that shot's not on, or he gets a block in it. Pickford, I'm not blaming Jordan Pickford because he's trying to get us to the halfway line. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, those defenders have split expecting a pass. Okay, well, he hasn't chose that option. He's chose the one that's gone forward. Okay, so then we have to react. Yeah. Branthwaite's got to react. He's got to get over and get almost in front of Jackson where there's no shot. Said it with Trossard the other week. O'Brien gets into a good position and then stays 5-6 yards off him, opens his legs, and it goes through his legs. Look at the one where Pickford makes a really good save from Madueke. O'Brien just lets him shoot. He just jogs back and goes after shot.
Players seem to me now a lot of. There's one in the second half. I think it might have been the one that Pickford pushed it wide, where Dwight McNeil comes into the box and he just lets him run past him. But it's that thing of like, I'd rather let him have a shot than me commit. And then he drops the shoulder and goes past me. Do you know what I mean?
I just think if you get tight, I'm not talking about diving in, but get tight and just cut the angle off. If he whips it round you, you know, then you go, well, couldn't really do much more. Just think, I mean, the lad hit it really well, don't get me wrong.
The mad thing is that Beto has 2 touches of the ball. So there's no reason why the centre-back shouldn't be back in the shape. I had no problem with the ball Pickford took. I think your centre-forward should be able to take a touch and then knock it off to someone else.
We'll see. He's got 2 options. Beto, there's 2 times he can lay a pass off, and he doesn't. And that's not good enough. First touch is actually quite good.
No, it is.
It takes him away from the defender.
It is.
So play it there or play it here, and he doesn't.
It's slow.
He comes back again, though. But I'm on with Zach about this. When you're a centre-forward and you're back to goal, right, the defender's behind you, don't take the ball to the outside where he's allowed to put it. If you take it this way, he ain't coming, unless they're left-footed, obviously, he ain't coming round you there. And this is what Beto does. Beto takes it back to the side where Chalobah can put the tackle in. It's just really, it's not good enough.
It's portable goal.
Branthwaite's got to react. He's got to react quick, and he doesn't. And it's a great strike. It's right in the corner, but you've got to react quicker than that. Farad says Moyes is a totally different level to Deitch. Anyone is an upgrade, but Moyes is reverting to type how on earth we not snapping Flamengo's hands off for Alcaraz. We've criminally underused them. But there was another comment.
But we haven't underused them.
But there was another comment which was black. I can't remember.
We haven't underused them.
Oh, we are. It's MGBN says, I think the decision the club made on Alcaraz was they didn't want to be tied down to the obligation without being able to assess the market and assess him. And I think that's what it is. We all want him to start. Now I don't think he can trigger it, can he?
I don't think so, no.
So therefore, if that's right, if it was 9 games, I think he's only started 4 and there's 4 to go. Everton really should play him in the next 4 now, every game, because it won't hit the thing and he'll get a feel for it, won't he? And then you can look and go, he's good or he isn't good.
He trains every day, don't he? He trains with these every single day. The majority of the stuff will be happening within the training as well. You got to remember that as well on all the players. So, and it's not just about how good he is. It's how, again, we often dismiss. We often don't look at this. Managers will look at players and see how they're taking in the information and seeing whether if they develop and like literally on a day-by-day basis. I taught you something yesterday. Are you doing it today in training? You know, I've told you to hold the ball up and take it this way. Are you? Is that coming off naturally? You know, players are always learning. There's no better sort of thing than watching a football actually develop in front of your eyes as to get better and stronger. It's mad. It's actually one of the things of like you often see with teams that get promoted is that they have bad starts, but you watch how those players develop over a season and how well they sort of. I know it hasn't really happened this season, but that's one of the things when you watch promoted teams come up and everyone goes, they're rubbish then, blah blah blah, and you get to about April and you're like, God, they look quite good now, and it's. If you can keep that team, that'll be the thing now when teams come, if teams go down and come straight back up, if they keep like the same kind of players, are those players ready? A bit like Fulham were when they did it and they managed to stay up then. They're the ones you have to, like Burnley, if they keep that team together, it'll be like, have they got that nous now? We'll wait and see, but it is interesting how players develop over a season, and they'll be seeing that in training every day. And if he's not seeing them like develop, then even if it's only a small window, then he'll go, well, if he's not developed in the 3 months he's been here, then there's no point in keeping him.
Yeah, you've got to get used to the division you're in as well, and you've got to get used to. You've got to improve every day, every time you go out there. But that's it. James Graham says it's the attitude of the players as well. With Moyes, it's not just the ability. Yeah, you've got to. The players' responsibility every day is to get better. That's their responsibility as professionals. John McCulloch says, let's pray the dinosaur's next job has a little bit of money so we can come and buy McNeil. Listen, David Moyes might have a plan for Dwight McNeil, mightn't he? I just look at Dwight McNeil and just think, I don't know how he'll get into a David Moyes team. I just don't know if he's quick or powerful enough for what David Moyes likes, or skillful enough. But we'll see, won't we? We'll see. Like the last couple, David Earl says, let's face it, major overhaul needed. Phil Williams says, I used to coach. Before receiving the ball, you should have at least 2 options of what you're going to do. Absolutely. Say this to our kids. Have a picture. This is, and they'll be saying it. These are elite footballers. Whether we think that the level, whatever, they're playing in an elite league, aren't they? So They'll know this, but why they're not doing it, I don't know. They should know when it's coming, what the pass is, what's on. They should be scanning all the time, what's available, who's on, how much time have I got. It winds me up when our players get caught dilly-dallying on the ball. Like, I've got the pass here, I'll just let me look around and see what's on. No one gives you that time.
Yeah.
No one goes, I'm not running back after. Well, a couple of our players do, but in general, I mean, Decore literally did it with Madueke on Saturday in the first half. You watch it, Madueke plays a little 1-2 down the corner, gets away from Patterson, he's by Decore, and he just sprints away, and Decore just jogs. Like, that's not my job, so run after him. And Pickford gets him out of trouble. Ian the Blue says, do you both think we'll see Dominic Calvert-Lewin again this season, or has the decision been made? Time is running out.
I think if he's fit, I think he'll start. If Brozier's got a chance of starting, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's got a chance of starting, I would imagine.
But do you think he'll be...
I don't know. He said he's back, didn't he? So he might be back for like the Southampton game. I don't know. He might be back with Fulham, maybe. I don't know.
Don't know.
It's hard to tell, isn't it, with players?
I don't know whether he will or he won't. You never know, do you? He might think himself. He mightn't fancy it, might he? I don't know whether he will or he won't. Probably want to play, but he might think, well, if I'm going clean slate, he'll know if he's got a club lined up now, won't he? It's been talked today, hasn't it, that Conte wants him at Napoli.
Yeah,
because he's got a big British base there now, hasn't he? Obviously, Scott McTominay last night again with goals and that.
Can they give us Lukaku in return?
Possibly, who knows? But there you go, yeah. Right, that is us done. Obviously, we'll be doing the final word live on Premiere, but the final word will be out later. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check out Ryan Rooney's My Goodison little series. We've got people talking about what they're going to miss about Goodison Park. Only 2 games to go now there, remember. The penultimate one on Saturday against Ipswich Town, the last ever 3 o'clock kickoff at Goodison Park. Nice. There you go. Thanks for watching. See you later.